Joining me today on episode 4 of Seconds Out is former WBA IBF IBO Junior Flyweight champion, former WBA and IBO Strawweight champion, one of only 3 South Africans to be awarded the ring belt, and South Africa's favourite little big man, Hekkie Budler. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's nice to be on.
Hekkie, a lot of people probably don't know that you're probably one of the youngest amateur champions ever to come out of South Africa.
No, well, senior champion. I was actually too young to fight Johannesburg championships. I was 16. I think my birthday was a week or 2 weeks after the Joburgs, and my parents had to write them a letter to give them consent to choose me for the Gauteng team. And I went on to win the SAs at 17.
Jeez, that's impressive. When did the boxing bug bite for you? How old were you when you first started?
Sure. I think I was 7 or 8. How it happened is I couldn't play other sports. So I hated losing at board games, at computer games, at PlayStation. I played one game of rugby. The team lost. I didn't want to play with them anymore. So they said I must do a sport where if I lost, it was my own fault. And my dad boxed, and he said, well, he's going to take me to a boxing gym. And I joined Hekkie at the time. The first time I stepped into the gym, I just enjoyed it. Although the first year and a half, I just moved in the ring forward and back and sideways. I didn't even punch a bag or put gloves on. But just looking at the other guys and seeing how they trained, I just fell in love with it. And I think it was an instant connection, instant love.
Did you always know that you'd make it your career?
Always wanted to. I didn't know, but I always wanted to. That was the plan from when I really wanted to, when I really started doing well. When I was in my early teens, late middle teens, I used to get into a lot of fights at school. But then when I realized that I really might be able to do something with boxing, when I won my first essays and people started saying, yes, you're actually quite good. And I had to change my lifestyle outside the ring. That's when I thought maybe I can honestly make something of this.
Your parents have always been involved in your career. How instrumental were they in your amateur career?
Oh, even my dad, even in the start of my pro career, he always used to drive me to the gym or drive to the gym with me. As you know, he was always by all the press conferences. An amateur, we used to travel with me everywhere. If I boxed in Cape Town, my dad would make a plan to be in Cape Town with me. In the start, my mom was a bit terrified of me fighting. Now she's accustomed to it. She knows it's what I do. It's what my life. And they've supported me in every single step of the way of whatever they could do to help me, to improve me. They did. They sacrificed a lot to help me.
Yeah, a lot of boxers I speak to, is definitely about the family behind them that makes it, particularly being an individual sport.
Yeah, most definitely. I think if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I am, because they had to drive me to places or help me get sponsors to get me to places, get into teams and things like that, to not to get into the team, to get to the championships, because we all had to normally pay for our own things or get sponsorship to pay for it, and they used to help me with that. And they always used to push. My dad would wake me up and say, hey, shouldn't you go and run, or haven't you ran already? I think it's just how I was brought up. He used to push me, not you have to go and train. You just ask me, did you go and train? So I would know, I need to go and train. I need to go and run.
Yeah. You turned pro at 19. Talk us through that process. Who did you go and see? Who was your trainer? How did you make the decision that, instead of going to get a 9 to 5, you wanted to be a boxer?
Well, I knew I wanted to be a boxer before I even turned pro. That was the plan, like I said earlier on. But how it happened, I stayed in Pretoria with the national team, and one day I went, it was my birthday actually, and they took me my dad took me home to Pretoria, to the place we stayed, and nobody was there, and it was locked. So he wanted to take me there the next day, and on the way there, my gran actually phoned, and we went to her house, and because she wanted to wish me congratulations on my birthday. So the morning we stopped there at Silence, and I got a phone call, and things were said on this phone call. I don't want to elaborate too much. And then that day, me and my dad decided we're turning pro. We actually drove to go and pick up my things in Pretoria, and a professional coach was actually helping me when I was training in Pretoria, because we didn't get enough help when we were there in anyway. And it was Colin Nathan. And the way he helped me, he actually drove to Pretoria to come and help me with training. And the funny thing is, when we drove from Pretoria back home, my dad phoned Colin and told him, Colin, we're turning pro today. Hekkie wants to turn pro now, today. And Colin still said, no, we must wait. We must turn pro after the Olympics. After the Olympics, we can turn pro. He'll help us and take us with open arms. And my dad told him, I'll never forget this, Colin, do you want him or do we have to go somewhere else? And Colin said, no, it's fine. Just bring him. And that's how I turned pro. I think it was the same day or the next day I turned pro.
Do you regret possibly not going to the Olympics?
I think if I boxed for a different country, if I was from a different country, I would have regretted it. But as a South African, I don't think so. I think most of the guys, we go there, we fight, whatever happens, we don't get anything out of it. There's not the same as an American where I think they get all the publicity. Those guys get sponsorships before they even turn professional. I think the backing we get as amateurs isn't the same as they. So I think it was better that I turned pro.
So what you're suggesting is being an amateur in South Africa could potentially be harder than being an amateur elsewhere?
Well, when I was in a national team, we went to a championships. This is how it is in the amateurs in South Africa. In Thailand, it was the King's Cup. There was Russians, there was guys from, I think, Kazakhstan, Romania, of course, the guys from Thailand. And this was massive for us. It was like a massive tournament for us. When it was finals, half of the finals didn't take place because the other guys from Russia and Uzbekistan, those guys left. They left. They're using this tournament as a warm-up to go to better tournaments. And for us, this was everything. So that's the work we get. That was what we get, how can I say this, what we train for, they show us this great tournament, but we don't fight against these top guys because they leave. They don't want to be there. They use it as a warm-up. So we don't get the preparation we need to win golds at the Olympics and things, or win medals, because the guys that, I don't know how to say it, we don't get the right fights. We fight African championships and that, but it's still not. We need to fight against the Russians, fight against the Uzbekistan.
So the level you're fighting is not of a high enough level for you.
Exactly, yeah. So it's better for the other countries because they fight each other the whole time. But we go there in this tournament where it's like, wow, it's amazing, but it's not actually. It's nothing for them. For us, it was amazing. So we need to pick up the boxing. We need more fights. We need to send our guys overseas more. Our teams need to go to fight against the Russians, fight against the Americans, fight against English. That's why the African countries like Egypt and Algeria are so good, because it's so close for them to actually just go over the water and go and fight in Europe. That's why they're so strong.
So you've been with Colin from fight 1 to fight 40?
Yeah, all my fights. He's always been my corner. Every single fight, yeah.
Do you get on well with Colin all the time, or do you guys have your moments as well?
No, we'll have our moments. It's weird to say Colin's 10 years older than me, and he's like a father figure to me, because that's how you have to see them. And it has to also be, that's why I think, okay, this is why I expand. I won't want my real dad to ever train me. That's why I'm happy I have Colin. Although I say he's a father figure, he'll understand when I'm in a fight or when I'm not in a fight. Where if it's my dad will just say, you're going to keep on fighting. You won't pull me out. He'll let me just fair fight and try and win. Where Colin is the type of guy, he'll understand, he'll know when the fight is hurt, because that's how close he gets to each and every one of us. He knows us inside and out. And he'll know when it's time to call the fight or when he thinks we can go on. And the thing with me and Colin, he's taught me how to box in essence. Because when I was turned pro, I ran in and I threw bowlers and hooks. And if I can hit you with anything, I'll hit you. He taught me how to really box, to calm down, to use my basics, use my skills to win.
Guy like Kevin Lorena, he never had an amateur career. How important do you think the amateur career that you had was the foundation for your pro career?
Yeah, most definitely. That's why you hear of the Americans that are winning all the world titles and at the moment the Russians and things, because these guys had like 200-300 amateur fights. I had 150, and for South African boxing, it was like the guys couldn't believe I had so many fights. It's a very, very, very important thing to have. What was lucky for Kevin, he's a very athletic guy, and he trains himself to death. He loves training. Kevin's always in the gym, so he's always wanted to learn, always wanted to improve. I remember when Kevin was a youngster, he used to train there by us in the gym as well. He did boxercise, or that's how he started. And he always used to train harder than all the other guys, and that's what Kevin is doing what he is doing. You always have to be better than or not better, want to train harder than everybody else in the gym, even if you've had the amateur background. But it is a good base to have as a good amateur background. It's you have to have the amateur fights. It's also, it's when you really get tested. You're fighting against the best guys if you go to SA championships in the rest of the country, and that's where you learn to win and lose as well.
Your first fight, do you remember it? Your first pro fight?
Yes, I actually do remember it. The trainer the guy that I fought, trainer, was actually an amateur trainer. That's how I knew him. And yeah, I'll never forget it. It was the best feeling I've ever, except for getting married and having my kid. It was probably the best feeling I've ever had. When that adrenaline rush you get walking into that ring, it's, I don't know, it never means any fight has been the same since then. Not the first fight. There's nothing to explain that.
Do you remember what you got paid for that first fight?
Yes, I actually do. I signed a contract, so it would be the same from that fight on.
Okay. A lot of the heavyweights are the guys who are making money at the moment. Unfortunately, the lighter weights like yourself aren't getting the same purses as the heavyweights. What's your thoughts on the way the money is going to the different weights?
I think I've made, how do I say this? I've just gotten used to it. It's just how it is. I'm going to know when I retire, I'm going to have to work because I haven't been paid as much as I should have been paid. I think at least the last few fights, the money's been better. But yeah, it's life. It's boxing. People want to see big guys knock each other out. That's just how it's always been. If you look at the history of boxing, the guys always made the most money are the heavyweights. Except if you look at a guy like Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, who sold themselves to make the money. Even Oscar as well. He used his name and his looks to make money. But also much heavier than me. But yeah, I'm good with that. I'm happy for the guys that are making money. Like we were talking about Kevin earlier, the way he's marketed himself and sold his name. He's clever as can be. And a lot of young and upcoming fighters should look at him and want to do what he's done.
Yeah.
Market yourself.
You had 15 fights before your first world title. Do you remember your first world title?
Yeah, against Journey Terubula. My opponent, I think, was his 80th fight when I had my 16th, if I can remember right. I'll never forget that fight. It was probably the hardest fight till this day. Even though I've lost a few after that, it was probably still the hardest fight in my career.
Yeah, and you won that with majority decision.
Yeah.
The first time in your career that it was
yeah,
standing there with the referee while they read out the judges' scores. Could have gone either way.
Yeah, definitely. I still thought I won if I watched the tape a few times because there was a lot of people said they robbed the guy afterwards, and I had to watch the fight. I watched that fight, I think, must be about 30, 40 times to make sure. And I thought I did win. I landed the cleaner shot. But in the rematch, I boxed him. It was, again, I think, a split decision, but I thought I won clearly in the rematch at least.
Yeah. You had one defense, and then you came up against Gideon Buthelezi, who you know well, and then you lost to him. And that was your first career loss.
Yeah.
It must have hurt.
Yeah, big time, especially knowing that I beat Gideon twice as an amateur. But Gideon's a good fighter. If he's on his game of the day, he can beat most people in the world. But that's boxing. You win some, you lose some. There wasn't a fight I expected to lose. But yeah, he beat me.
After that fight, you went straight down to strawweight?
I never used to pull weight. I just used to walk around in the weight division as a junior fly. And we just decided, let's just try it. And I felt strong enough. I think I can still, my personal opinion, I can still make mini fly if I have to. If that's a plan for the future, I can still make it because I'm not, if I really train, if I train full out training and full out camp, I walk around at about 52, 53. Which is very close to the limit. The other guys that I've seen walk around 58, 59, so I can still make it. But it's just, I think it was a good plan at the time, and it worked out.
You don't battle with pulling weight, eh?
No, and especially since I've joined Scott McIntosh at the Yard Athletic, the way he gets us to pull weight and gets me to eat right, eat what I need to, and what he helps me with, I don't have any struggles with weight at all. Actually, my last fight, I actually had to drink a bottle of juice to pick up weight because it was too low.
Geez, that doesn't happen too often in boxing.
Yeah,
eh?
Exactly. Yeah.
You lost to Gideon. You lost your title. You went to straw. You had 1 6-rounder at strawweight before you got a title crack. I mean, that's some good work from the promoter.
Yeah, most definitely. They did good for me. Golden Gloves did me in the start of my career when I needed them. They backed me and they got me the right fights. They got me the world titles, and Uncle Rodney knows how to pull the strings and get you the right fights. He knows how to open the doors for the guys.
Were you comfortable at strawweight?
Yeah, actually very.
If you could choose now which division you'd prefer to fight at?
Oh, that's still a coin flip. Junior fly or mini fly. I want to try mini fly as well. Like I said, I might want to try that but I'll see. I'll speak to Colin. I need to speak to Colin. That's the biggest thing. We need to sit and have a nice talk. Because I spoke to my wife who's sitting in the studio, and I told her, she said it's my decision. I know I'm jumping a bit forward now, but after my last fight, we talked, and I said I want to see what I want to do, if I want to retire or continue fighting. And she said it's up to me, and I'd like to come back and have 1 or 2 more, maybe 1 more this last year, and then decide.
When does a boxer know when it's time?
Well, my last fight, a lot of people said, "Oh, you weren't as good," but I just got hit. He was just a better fighter. He landed clearly. I fought the best in the world. I didn't fight somebody that they just picked up. I fought the best in the world.
Yeah, he's ranked number 1.
And he beat me. It's what happens. He caught me a good shot, landed on the perfect spot on my temple. When they stopped the fight, I actually thought it was the end of the round. I didn't know they're stopping the fight. But I think when you really know is when you start sparring and guys that should not be hurting you start hurting you. And when you slow down, I still feel fine. I still feel fresh. That's all I want to see. I don't one fight and see how I feel, and then make this final decision.
You know, you're the oldest guy in the top 15 in your weight division at 35.
Sure. So when I'm 36, I'll still be the oldest, I think. Yeah. No, but if you feel young and you protect your body and do things the right way, you can extend your career.
So you think there's still a title shot in you?
God willing, yes. Yeah.
Okay. 2013, coming back to your career and just leading up to it, 2013, you got the WBA title, which is one of the top 4. That was a big achievement for you.
Yeah, definitely. I thought, what's his name? Colombian, I think. Knocked him out of an overhand right. I think it was also the first round, if I can remember right. Something like that. But yeah, at the time, I was winning guys on points, and it was close fights, and I just landed. But then when I won that fight, I knew I was back into it, back in the big time, if that, to want to say that, because I won that, like I say, the WBA, which was a big title. That is one of the biggest ones. The first world title organization when it was just a Ring Magazine belt, they were the first ones to make to become an organization. A world title was a WBA. So yeah, it was a massive moment. It's one of the belts I've always wanted to win. So it was amazing.
2016, you had another loss throughout, and then you went back up to junior fly. Talk us through that process.
Yeah, there was another fight that I was not supposed to lose. A fight that I was supposed to win. That's what everyone said. I'm supposed to win this. But yeah, like I said, that's boxing. I've lost a lot of my fights that I've lost was against guys that I was not supposed to lose against. That I was supposed to win, except for the last one. But yeah, that's how life goes. That's boxing. That's why I say boxing is a lot like life. You get your ups and your downs. If you lost, it's always how strong you can come back. And I think I came back pretty strong after that loss.
Yeah, you did. You came up against a guy called Taguchi, where you won back the titles, the IBF and the WBA.
Yeah, but
all 3 judges had you winning by one point, 12th round.
Yeah,
still controversial, I think.
Yeah, the thing what happened, I lost the fight before that. I lost. My third loss was against the Filipino when they robbed me for the IBF title and they ordered a rematch. But that was the guy sits in the corner, they work on the cut, and the doctor looks and they still work. It was confusing. But that fight, I was a 19-1 underdog. Everyone thought I was going to walk in there and just get knocked out. And I got knocked down, I think it was on the last round, the left hook. That the referee actually didn't call it a knockdown.
Yeah, he called it a slip, yeah.
And because I jumped up, it was a good shot, but I just went down and up. It looked like a slip. And it was the first time I've ever seen that, where the promoter told the ref to watch the replay, and then they changed the result afterwards. The first time I've ever seen it. I didn't even know about it. Colin also. But we signed the thing before the fight. We didn't even know it. That was allowed. And I still won. I won by way over 1 point in each and every judge's corner. That was probably the biggest achievement in my boxing career. Won 2 world titles and the Ring Magazine on the same night, the IBF and WBA, same fight, yeah.
The East seems to be a home for the smaller weights. Do you see yourself campaigning there in your final years more?
Oh, it all depends. If the champions are there to fight, I'll go and fight them there. It's better to fight there. There's more money that side as well. You get paid more. But yeah, there's 2 guys, 2 brothers that actually in the mini flyweights that actually won world titles on the same night. 2 brothers. Something they achieved. I actually read about it. And I'd like to fight one of the brothers and maybe to have another fight against the other brother after I've beat the other one. We'll see. But it's the East, especially Japan. Those guys get paid very, very well in my weight division in Japan. But then there's guys in Thailand, China is also quite big, but Japan is massive. It's massive with boxing. I'm better known there than I am in South Africa. In Mexico as well. Boxing in Mexico is also massive. I was also, when I ran in the streets in Mexico, people stopped me and asked me for my autograph. Same in Japan. Well, yeah, if I walk in the streets, nobody knows who I am. But yeah, it's big. It's massive there. Boxing is big there, especially in my weight divisions, because there's smaller people there.
Do you enjoy Japan?
Yeah, it's an amazing country. The people are nice. The weird thing, the first time I went there, when I run in the streets here in South Africa and somebody runs past me, I'd greet them and they'd greet back. There, the people always look down. I'm like, what's wrong with these people? No one wants to greet me. And afterwards, I found out, I did some reading that they said if you look them in the eye, it's disrespect. That's why they always look down. So I was very disrespectful to the people the first time going to Japan. But yeah, it's a different culture. The people are so nice. The way people act around you. So, but the one thing that surprised me was how big boxing is there. It's insane. It's a different level.
Proper purses there for you?
Yeah, it's much better there. I get paid much better there than I'll ever be paid in South Africa. And it's the money's just better there. It's dollars. You get paid in dollars. Where the rand is at the moment where it's so weak that it's just better to fight that side.
So will we see you fight in South Africa before you call it quits eventually?
Yeah, I think so. That is the plan. I'd like to have one more. But we'll see. That's all what Colin... Like I said, I need to speak to Colin and we'll decide together what the plan is going forward and what he wants me to do.
You've had 19 world title fights?
I did not know that. Thank you for that.
Which one stands out as the toughest for you?
The toughest will still be my first world title. Even though I lost my last, got knocked out by the best, but still my first world title fight. He was so tough and so crafty. The way it hit me below the belt, in the kidneys, behind the back of my head, because he was so clever. When the ref was on this side, he hit you on this side. And that fight learned me a lot on how to really adapt to those types of styles. I think that was still my hardest and the best learning experience was that fight.
Anyone in the junior flies you'd like to fight now? Anyone in the top 10 that you think you could have the better of?
I don't actually know. I always want to fight the best. So I'd rather have a rematch against the guy who beat me. Yeah, I'd always want to fight the best guys. I don't care if it's for no money even. I want to fight against the best because I always want to test myself against the best guys in the world.
Is there a chance of a rematch with Taraji?
I'll have to win again a few fights and get into number one the position to do it. But I think his plan is either to move up or unify, because that's what they told me. He wants to unify the division. So I don't know. I have to win one of the other belts first and then have a chance against that.
Yeah. What's next for you after boxing? A couple of years from now, what's the Budler family going to get up to?
Well, I'd like to maybe open my own place, like a gym. But I enjoy, like I said, like a lot of people that know me know, I like to enjoy training people. I enjoy training normal people that want to get fit and stay fit. And that's what I'm doing at the moment. And I'm loving doing it. But we'll see. Life always throws curves, always got those curveballs to throw. Me and my wife will sit down and still decide, have a nice chat about it, what the plans are. But I think still train people and stay active.
Do you have any regrets in your career? Anything that stands out that you wish you had taken a different route or done differently?
No, I think everything happens for a reason in life. I believe that strongly, and I believe everything has happened the way it should happen in my career. And that's how the cookie crumbles. I'm happy with everything I did. Some decisions I maybe should have been differently, but that was not in my hands. But no, I'm happy with every single thing I did. Everyone that played a part in my career played a part at that time for a reason. And yeah, I'm happy about it.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Like you said, like another thing, I would never have met you if I went the other way. So everything happens for a reason, and I'm happy for that. And thanks for having me. It was lekker. It's always good to chat to you. It's always good.